Question 28, the graph shows the relationship between the number of gallons of fuel remaining in the tank of a semi-truck and the number of miles traveled by the semi-truck. So we have fuel remaining on the y. It's going to be our y-axis. And the x-axis is our number of miles. Number of miles is our x-axis. Okay, so we're looking for which function can be used to find y, the number of gallons of fuel remaining in the tank of the semi-truck after it has traveled x miles. So hopefully in your mind this sparks the y equals mx plus b formula. And even if you didn't spark your formula, that is what each of our answer choices are written in, is the slope. This is the slope intercept form. This can be found on your STAAR formula chart. And this is where we find our slope. Right here is m, and our intercept, our y-intercept is b, right? So our y-intercept is b. And so we need to find both of those things. So when we look at our graph here, the y-intercept equals the place where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, so let's first find that. And when we look at our graph here, we see that the line crosses the y-axis at 240. So that is going to be 240 as our y-axis, our y-intercept. So we still have y equals blank x, so we need to find our slope. So in order to find slope, we need pretty points. So when we look at our line, so we're going to start here, and as I go along, I'm looking for a place on the graph that would be considered a pretty point. So a pretty point is where the xy coordinate lies on the line at clean numbers. So xy are both clean numbers. Clean numbers, I don't mean like squeaky clean. I mean no decimals. Like here, for example, this is the coordinate pair 300 to 10. So it's a pretty point because whereas like if I were to draw a point here, there is an xy coordinate, but it would be, this coordinate pair would be messy. So we're looking for clean, pretty points when we're finding the rise over run. So now we're going to find the rise over run. And before we do that, pause point for reflection 1. What is the interval of the x-axis and the y-axis? Okay. All right, so now we're going to find our rise and run. Erase this. So we're going to go from pretty point to pretty point, so I'm going to do them both in blue. So we have a pretty point here. So I'm going to rise. It looks like just 1. So it looks like my rise is only going up 1, but actually I'm going from 210 to 240, which is a rise of 30. And then we are running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like 6 spaces, but this 6 spaces actually equals 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. That equals 300. So we're looking at 30 over 300, and we're going in the left direction, so we're going to have a negative 30 over 300, but we don't see that in any of our answer choices. So we're going to simplify negative 30 over 300, which simplifies to negative 1 over 10. So that fills in our space here, and it leads to answer J. So pause point for reflection 2. How do you think they came up with the incorrect equation as written in answer choice G? So that's your question 28.